Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about just the overall Sony kind of calls and information, everything else going on here. More so in regards to like the money, in regards to how much money they made, if the regards of like the PlayStation 5 is successful or not, and as well kind of go a little bit more on the deep dive talk when it came to the numbers and kind of the somewhat disappointing sales numbers too as well. And although we have had good projections going on too from that, it's always just very intriguing stuff to go and think about. It's kind of like a lot of more stuff to go and dissect into. Now to go and say, we'll maybe make a few more videos on this too as well, because every single kind of like fine point is very intriguing, mainly because there's different like feedback, there's different like concepts, there's different like individual departments, and well, just overall it's a lot of just stuff to go and kind of break down. This is why we usually like these earnings calls and informations, because they're just like paragraphs upon speeches upon speeches. So the more information we see, the better. The more stuff we see, the better. The more good news we see, the better. And that's kind of where we saw a lot of our little like restocking news going on, as we talked about as of yesterday. So a lot of stuff to go talk about, a lot of things to go break on down. So let's go talk about it. As well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller. Twitter and Twitch stream as well, link down below. And sign up for the Weeble, sign up for the Coinbase and Twitter giveaway, all down below. So as I mentioned, we have a lot of things to kind of go and break down. So one of the bigger first and foremost things, and this is going to be like a little bit of recap from yesterday if you guys saw that, is that from the earnings calls and investor meetings, we've actually seen some very, very good numbers. So the PlayStation 5 as of right now has actually basically surpassed 19.3 million units sold as of worldwide. So Japan, China, America, Europe, whatever. So with all that stuff put together, that does kind of go and show that the PlayStation 5 is doing very, very well. Although, we had one little big comment I want to go touch on really quickly before we dive into other new stuff, is that as of this past year, there was only past quarter, only 2 million consoles were actually shipped out in the last quarter of the fiscal year. So that's pretty much like just think like January through like March 31st. And that's actually something of a concern. I think I said I wanted to go and talk about, because it goes to show that we had really, really bad numbers for restocks. And if you guys have kind of been around throughout these past few months, it's kind of obvious. Like, it's been really, really hard for us to even go and see that. It's been a very, very bad amount of stock. We have not seen a lot of consoles. We have not seen a lot of people getting the hookup. We have not seen a lot of people getting their restocks. Walmart, Amazon's, Targets, Best Buys, you name it, although they have been floating around, and we have been seeing stock, and we have been seeing stock movement, and everything else put together, it just has not been as big as we've kind of been expecting. And well, that's kind of a big disappointment. So it's kind of weird, because for Sony themselves, they wanted to go and hit the, well, big number 14.8 million consoles, which funny enough was even more downgraded from before. And as well as compared to the same time as the past fiscal year, the PS5 sales for the final quarter actually fell short by 1.3 million. So as of this entire time, in theory, like we're going to go on the more on the positive side in a second, but in theory, this last fiscal year was actually somehow a failure. Now, they did go and kind of mention that. They did go and push and be like, yeah, well, there's still issues, which I think a lot of us can collectively kind of agree. While it would be nice to have our consoles, it, well, happens. You know, sometimes life just happens. It stinks, but it happens. So, yeah. It does kind of stink at the end of the day, because, well, we just didn't have a chance to get a lot of our consoles. And, well, they just didn't really do too good in these last few months. But on the bright side, if you guys saw a video yesterday, it did kind of go and show that they wanted to push even more, and they want to have even better targets and more movements when it comes to stock and stock movement with it. So, at least, like, at the end of the day, it's some kind of good news as well, and they did want to have their new target still standing at 18 million units for March 2023. So, while it is a disappointment these past few months, we're usually more of a future onlooking, because you can't really change the past. So, at least if you guys are kind of missed all that stuff from yesterday, it's all around good news. Which is funny, too, because there's only like 100,000 PS5s in the final quarter of the fiscal year of 2020, and basically for that one, they actually dropped over 900,000 units compared to the year before, and the lifetime shipments for the PS4 actually fine enough got 117 million mark though, and that's pretty big. So we also did have some more intriguing news too in the Sony PlayStation Plus, which sadly enough, we actually had a little bit more, I think, even basically a lot more stuff just in the like bad news, like more like the bad numbers going down, where they actually had a lot of their numbers for PlayStation Plus go down lower than what they were expecting as of March 2022, and I'm sure those numbers actually may go and adjust a little bit more as well with the brand new PS Plus changes that are ongoing. As well, too, funny enough, we also saw some pretty big sales in terms of first-party games, where 14.5 million units actually got sold, which, if you compare that to the previous prior years, had an 84% increase compared to last year. And as well, Sony obviously is expecting its games and network businesses to increase significantly through the current fiscal year. So, I mean, that's a normal business. They want to make money. They're probably going to make money. They want to keep on investing money. And at the end of the day, it's going and looking pretty good. So, as I'm seeing that stuff, at least it is looking pretty nice. And I do enjoy the fact of, well, we had a chance to go and see it. Had a chance to go and see some good stock. But some more intriguing stuff over here from Zubitech that actually had a chance to go and just highlight a little bit more specific numbers. Where as of this, for the PlayStation itself, in case you guys are just kind of curious on how much money these companies make, PlayStation themselves literally made $24.35 billion. That's nuts. Because also factor in that too as well, where there's been a lot of big issues in terms of the stock. There's been a lot of big issues in terms of restocks, a lot of big issues in terms of semiconductors, a lot of big issues of just, well, everything. And as well, a lot of fiascos, PS Now shutting down now. And a lot of this stuff's going to be kind of going kind of weird throughout this next year. But even with their projections down, they made a lot of money. Like $24 billion is a lot of money. So PlayStation also sold 43.9 million units of first-party games too as well. So that's insane to see, 44 million units. That's nuts. Like, and also you have to factor in too, I'm sure a lot of those are also day one buys and everything else too tied on in. So that could also have, like, say the Horizons, the Ratchet and Clanks, Returnals. And it's kind of cool to go and see how big the numbers have been going. Like, that's huge for a whole fiscal year. And I'm almost kind of curious to see the comparison between Xbox individual games. Because while we usually kind of give the Xbox a nice little nudge in terms of Game Pass, being a good value, getting subscriber money, all that, it's also kind of curious to see on how many people individually bought Halo, or how many people individually bought, insert random Xbox game, because Game Pass is great and all, but, like, if you can somehow make 44 million sales versus, say, like, all the other subscriber base, you could actually sometimes make more money, depending on how the numbers go. And one also really nice thing too as well, and although we had a little bit of doom and gloom in terms of them not making as many sales and not getting as many consoles, it does kind of seem like the PlayStation 5 does seem like it is already highly profitable too as well. So at least that's kind of good too. And the one big thing as well when it comes to stock and stock makers and everything else is that Sony is forecasting a $28 billion revenue for the next upcoming fiscal year. So it's always very nice to go and see. And some additional things too as well. PlayStation sold 303 million units of software in this past fiscal year. And the total hardware sales as of right now for the PS4 and PS5 were 12.5 million units in the full fiscal year. And as of right now, as we kind of mentioned, Sony aims to sell 18 million units of the PS5 by the end of the fiscal year. So as you guys probably know, fiscal years are basically just like the, I guess, financial year. So it's pretty much starting as of right now. We're a few weeks into it, so hopefully we'll see a lot more restocks and a lot more movement coming in the near future. And as well, they also want to push for more than 300,000 more than the PS4. And this would actually take the PS5 lifetime sales to 37.3 million units sold if all the restocks actually happen, if there's no more major big issues, if semiconductors keep evolving, and all that type of stuff put together. So I'm just letting you guys all know this actually seems pretty cool. I do like the idea. I do like the concept. I like the idea that PlayStation's doing well. I like the idea that they want to kind of go a little bit more on the hyperdrive and start making a lot more consoles. I like the idea that they're trying their best to get the hookup. I like the idea that basically we're seeing hopefully more consoles being produced. And when this comes from official, like higher ups at Sony sources, it usually adds a lot more merit. Say like someone like a random analyst who's just looking at the markets or consoles, or even someone like me, because this is literally from Sony themselves. Like this is literally Sony, the company, saying, this is what we plan on doing, this is what we want to have happen, this is how many restocks we want to do, and all that type of stuff. So we have a lot of good other news to also break on down into the PlayStation 5 and like Sony conferences that they've talked about. So if you guys want to hear anything more or hear my take on anything else, or kind of just want to recommend stuff or bring stuff up yourselves, feel free to in the comment section down below. But when it comes to all this type of stuff, it's always very intriguing to go and see, because at the end of the day, We like seeing more consoles. We like seeing more restocks. And like, I'm not the, like, obviously I don't want the company to not make money, but it's always nice to see companies and game companies doing well, because in theory, that should also mean that we'll see a lot more games, a lot more game investments, good infrastructure, and at the end of the day, it's just good for the gaming scene to have, well, the gaming doing well. So all around good stuff with that. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. If you guys want to give your any feedbacks and thoughts down below, feel free to. And as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch room down below, the Webull and Coinbase down below, and everything else down below too as well. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later on throughout today for more videos.